Ah, Steve. Don't ever change, buddy. What words can be said to describe a man like Steve Jobs? Visionary? Genius? The father of modern computing as we know it. And colossal motherfucking asshole. So, we all know that Steve Jobs was one of the founders of Apple Computers. But did you know that there was a time when he didn't work there? Yeah, in the mid-'80s, he left Apple and started a computer company called NeXT. They built these really crazy computers that were like cubes, and they were kind of cool.
Well, I've forgotten how much work it actually is to start a company. It's a lot of work. And you've got to do everything. You've got to come up with a name. You've got to come up with a logo. In addition to designing the product, you've got to figure out what to design. You've got to figure out how you're going to get it to the marketplace. You've got to do a part number system. You've got to go get bank accounts. You've got to set up charts, general ledgers.
So NeXT Computer was started in 1985, and they didn't actually come up with their first computer until 1988. And part of the reason for that was because when Steve Jobs left Apple and started NeXT, he took a lot of the Apple engineers with him, a lot of the really smart people who were great at building technology, writing software, so that they could make a really fantastic computer. So Apple had a big problem with that. They took him to court. After a decently long court battle, they agreed that NeXT was going to sell computers that would not compete directly with Apple's market. That's why NeXT computers were designed for universities, industry, government, like laboratories, people who needed a really powerful computer and weren't afraid to spend good money to get one. And in 1988, they came out with their first computer, the Cube here, which is actually a 12-inch by 12-inch cube that's made completely out of magnesium. You know, being that Steve Jobs was really into aesthetics, he spent a lot of time and effort on the design of the machine, which is why it was so revolutionary. I mean, it had, an optical drive, 1 gigabyte hard drive, and it had a 17-inch display, which was black and white, but 17 inches. So at the time, that was much better than anything Apple was coming out with. Yeah, the NeXT Cube was a really powerful system. I mean, in 1989, you were not going to find a computer with a 1 gigabyte hard drive, 64 megs of RAM, 24 megahertz, Motorola processor. It wasn't going to be out there at that time. It's very powerful, but the price was too high. Customers just weren't going to get on board with a computer that was $6,500. That was just a little bit high even for the market that NeXT was trying to get to. And when you couldn't get customers on board, that made it a little bit hard for developers to get on board, because developers, when they're writing software, they want to make sure they're going to sell some. They want to be writing software for a machine that's going to bring them money. The operating system is fantastic. I mean, the NeXT Step OS was seen as one of the best operating systems out there, and it really was very powerful. In fact, if you've used a Macintosh computer in the last few years, yeah, you know how the NeXT Step works, because Mac OS actually is NeXT. It was built off the same system. So all in all, the NeXT Cube really just stands as a monument to innovation and computing history.
So I don't think we have a company if we don't do this. No matter what I say or anybody else says, that is my deepest belief. If we don't do this, we will not be able to attract great people. We will not be able to retain some of the ones we have. And, it just won't be us. And I find myself making lists of things we don't know, and then I remember that our company is 90 days old. And I look back to all the things we do know. And it's really phenomenal how far we've come in 90 days.
Hey guys, I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, go ahead and comment on this one, or send me an email at pixelnerd101@gmail.com. Alrighty guys, see you next time. And yeah, I'm gonna go over here and do some stuff. Okay. Is it,